Des.
So good. I'm so excited for today.
Me too. I'm so happy to connect with you here online and with so many other creators, hopefully, as they're hopping on. This has been a really anticipated event. I was shocked to see how many. I'm actually not shocked because I understand. I understand. It's New Year's. We all want to get organized. But I was pleasantly surprised with how many people were excited about this event, how many RSVPs came through to be here. So let's explain what we're doing today. If you RSVP'd or whether you're just finding us here on your feed, we are Create Room. That is where we are tuning in from, and we are all about organization. That is our background. We love to help crafters create spaces that work for them, allow them to create more. And today we are going to be talking about some of the systems that you can set up this year in 2026 to make it your most creative year yet, to bring more making into every day. This is Desi, and I'm Ashley, and we'll just introduce ourselves quick. Desi's tuning in from New Jersey, so we're across the country from each other right now. Tell us a little bit about you, Des.
Hi, guys. So excited to be here. I already see so many of my customers saying hello. So it's so nice to have you guys here. If a little bit about me, I'm the lead creator consultant. I have the dream job over here. I meet with so many creators and I help them set up their dream spaces. So today I'm really excited to go over the creative reset and how we can help make your space more organized.
Love it. And Desi is actually a customer first. She started as a Dreambox customer, as a maker. That's her background. And now she helps other creators do the same thing. So we're really happy to have her here. And I am Ashley from Create Room. I'm tuning in from our showroom in Cedar Hills, Utah. If you happen to be local, let us know. We'd love for you to come by anytime and see our products. So it looks like we've got quite a few people on here at this point. So I think we'll get into it. If you guys are interested, in this top corner over here, we have a full guide, a full organization guide. If you are looking for something more in depth that you can follow along with, it's a worksheet. There's Desi's got it right there.
Amazing. Yeah, it's really, really great. I actually just started filling mine out.
That's so great. And this is what we wanted to focus on today. We've been calling it the creative reset because what we're looking to do, no matter where you're at in your journey of setting up your craft space, your craft room, whatever, your desk, whatever you've got, we wanted to bring together some practices that can be applied to you at any stage that will allow you to create a setup that is easily manageable, maintainable, and usable. Right, Des? That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so let's get into it here. We're gonna switch screens. Oh, hang on here. We got to get back to the beginning of it.
Susie, I see you're asking where you can get the worksheet. So if you scan the QR code, or if I'll have Katie link it in the chat, you can go right to that blog post and download it there.
Okay, while I'm getting to the right slide here, I'm going to switch our screen. Okay, and Des, I wanted you to talk about your experience because you're talking to crafters and creators all day, every day. That's a big part of your life these days. What are some of the main pain points you hear, or the things that are holding people back from creating their dream craft space?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I hear almost every day is that I have so much stuff, but I don't know what I have. And so everything is just like in bins and boxes and in piles. And so they're not able to see everything. They can't locate their supplies. They're often overbuying supplies. And so they're looking for a solution and something that's going to make life more accessible, more obtainable, more organized, and then get rid of the creative block that comes with a messy space. So that's like usually like the main topic that I start with and people are usually bringing up to me.
Okay, that's great. And I think what I would love for everyone to hear that is listening is that you're not alone, that we all have these struggles of trying to create a system. And what we're really excited about is these principles can help you create a system that we're not going to say it is never going to become a messy space. We're all going to be messy as we create, and that's the joy that comes from creating. But what we're hoping to help you with is to create systems that you can easily reset, that you can come back to at any point throughout the year. And Desi and I were actually just talking about this when we started talking about this creative reset concept, and how, Desi, you mentioned that you like to reset around the seasons. So you're coming back and organizing your space, resetting things up.
Yeah.
To that before we get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So like every season right now, it's the new year. It's a new time for me to go through my dream box, my craft room in general. And because I have these methods that work for me, it's a very simple process. I've created zones in my craft room. Every zone has a different craft type. And so absolutely, like we're saying, creativity is messy and get messy. That's totally fine. But it's really important to have a solution to go back to, so you can put everything away really organized and then start refreshed again.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so we kind of just went over this, but a creative reset, what we're hoping to allow you guys to create in your lives is the ability to reset whenever you need to be able to reset your space. So it's not necessarily a full craft room makeover, but it's an opportunity to check in on what's working, what's not working, and kind of reset your systems, but going back to the systems that you've created.
Yeah, and Tracy just said I've spent more time crafting in the last year since getting my dream box than I have in the last decade. And it's so funny, Tracy, because we've actually recently done some research and data, and we have found that crafters are crafting 3 times more with a dream box than they were before. So anyways, I just wanted to call them out.
That was perfectly timed, Tracy. Thank you for sharing that. That was so great. So designing a setup that is easy to reset. This is a perfect segue into kind of the background of why we created the dream box. And again, as you guys are here, I know some of you may have a dream box, some of you don't, you have a different system. We are not saying that you have to have a dream box to make these practices work.
Yeah.
We just wanted to explain the background of why the dream box was created the way it was, that in essence, it is in itself a setup that is easy to reset. So we're going to explain a little bit more what we mean by that. So we hear often that you need, people saying, I need more storage. I need more storage. And we took that concept into consideration in the development of the dream box. We know that we need storage, but what we like to think of instead of just storage is workspace. So you can see this list here: storage hides supplies, a workspace, and the dream box keeps things visible. Storage requires setup before creating, which we know is such a barrier. But a workspace, the dream box, is ready the minute you sit down. Again, things like supplies get forgotten, they're hidden away in your store. You think about your storage bins, you think about some of the things we want hidden, like our holiday supplies that we're all putting away right now. Like, you want to hide those away in your bins, put them in your garage and forget about them until the next year. But for your craft supplies, it's very different. You want to be able to see and access them. And that is what the dream box is designed to do. So we are going to go through some 5 practices for sustainable organization, that these were incorporated into the dream box, but again, you can incorporate them into your own setup, whatever that looks like. Okay, did I explain things well enough, Des? Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Okay. So, let me take that QR code out of here so we can see things. Okay. Hide. There we go. All right. So number 1, practice in view. In view. And you can see here, in view can mean lots of different things. So you can see here we have the in view totes, which I'll give a little bit of background on there. We have our pegboards over here. We have our swing doors with visible supplies. We've got our fabrics laid out. But the main thing here is when you come into your craft space, you remember what you have to work with. You can see what you have. You're also inspired by it. The background on the in view totes, when we first launched the Dream Box years ago, we had fabric totes. So they were not in view, they were covered. And we learned over time, working with so many crafters, that needed to change, that people needed to be able to see what they had. And we invented the in view totes. Let's go to the next, which
Yeah.
You have probably seen, if not, this is an example of one of them. They're clear on all sides, so they allow you to see what are actually stored inside the tote, and then they can be displayed in your dream box. You can see an example over here on the right of these our hook shelves and our open shelving here. So everything in the dream box is designed to be able to let you see what is actually there and nothing to be hidden away. Desi, what would you add to this?
No, absolutely. I love the system. When I first got my dream box, it was the first thing that stood out to me. It was the first time in my entire life as a creator that I had everything in view and I was able to see everything so clearly. And so I stopped overbuying supplies. At the time, I was running a jewelry business, and any business owner will tell you keeping up with inventory is really difficult. And so having this system where everything was in view and I could see exactly what I had, I saved money, I saved time, I was more creative. And even before I got my dream box, like I could figure out, based on now that I know this method, I think anyone could start today with trying to keep things more in view so everything is on display.
100%. That's such a good background on like your experience with it. I was going to say too, I know that sometimes, it can be overwhelming to have everything in view, but one great thing about the dream box, the way we designed it, is that the whole entire box can close away. So when you're
Yeah.
not counting, it is nice sometimes to be able to close that away and then open it up when you're ready and everything is there displayed for you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to number 2. So number 2 is in reach. And this concept, what we mean by this is accessibility to your supplies. I'm going to go to the next slide here. Okay, so you can see this example. One of our philosophies is like no stacking because
No stacking.
inaccessible. Like you think about, okay, I want to get that piece of paper that's 5 stacks down, like how much work that is to get out, and it adds so much time to the limited craft time you may have. So when everything is in reach, not only like are you more motivated to craft because you can actually get things done and you're not going to be spending half of your time setting up.
Yeah.
But then you can craft faster as you're going, and you have the ability to move through an assortment of supplies quickly. What's been your experience with this concept as?
Yeah, having everything in reach, I just feel like it's completely changed the way that I create. I do so many consultations every week, and I
Yep.
can't tell you how many I do where the customer will turn their camera around and show me a setup like you see in the right.
Yeah.
And they say, I don't know what to do. And I said, don't worry, we're going to work on this together. We're going to figure out a system, and you're going to be able to see everything, and it's going to be in reach, and you're not going to have to worry. And it's just, honestly, it's been a game changer for my creativity. And I think even I have a 5-year-old at home, like
Yep.
he even knows where everything is. He
Yep.
knows where to find everything. It's very accessible. Our creativity is so accessible every single day. And he will come to me almost every day and be like, all right, what are we doing today, Mom? Are we going to use crayons? Are we going to use paint? We're going to use markers. And he knows exactly where everything is. So, I
That's
mean, my experience has been wonderful, but I think anyone watching this live, you can implement these very easy steps into your day-to-day routine and create 3 times more.
I love that. Such good examples. In view and reach in seconds is kind of the philosophy that we come back to with the dream box. That's kind of been the way that we designed it to work for creators. All right, number 3, give everything a home. And this just kind of goes deeper into, yes, in view, yes, in reach, but are you finding the right containers for the right job so that it's easy to put things back where they go, it's easy to understand your system. And if you look at this image here, you can kind of see we have a few different organization containers, if you will, that are designed specifically for craft supplies. So again, the pegboards for displaying your threads or whatever it is. We've also seen a lot of vinyl display. The in-view totes that I've been mentioning, they were all designed. We have 3 different sizes. They were designed with specific craft supplies in mind.
Yeah.
And to allow you to not waste space, because that's one thing. Like if you're trying to keep everything in view and in reach, you really can't waste space because you only have so much space to work with. Otherwise, you're going to really overwhelm yourself. So everything really does need to be contained well. And then the other part about giving it a home is, like I mentioned, it is easy to maintain as you create. So when you're sitting there in the middle of crafting, you're not getting quite as messy as you might if you're literally pulling everything out and then you have to put everything away at the end. But if you are putting things away as you go. Let's go to the next slide here with some more examples. And Des, what would you add here?
Yeah, I feel like these photos paint the perfect picture, like the pegboards for your thread and our mini totes, which yes, they are stackable, but they're also clear and stackable. So you can see what's underneath and it's easily accessible. And then also having all of your ribbon, specifically all of your pink ribbon in one tote, and then maybe your blue ribbon is in the next tote, and so on and so on. And really finding homes for everything that work for the craft type so that not only are you creating more, but you're honoring all of the things you've purchased so that you can actually utilize them.
Yes, 100%. I love that concept of honoring your supplies, giving them a proper home.
Yeah.
Love that. And as we've been mentioning, the way that we developed the Dreambox was to be very customizable, depending, because we know it supports craft types of every kind. And we also know crafting changes over the years. So we wanted it to be an investment that you could set up, but then as your interests change, as your hobbies change, as your life changes, it's adjustable. It's super adjustable. And there is a likely more than one way to store every craft supply that you are.
And if you notice on the slide, guys, the top photo, this is Renee. She's one of our customers. This is a real life setup. And this isn't a propped, this isn't our studio. This is a real life customer. She has everything so organized. It's so accessible. And just look how happy she is.
You know what is so fun? So we had gone to Renee's house to visit her and kind of interview about her craft room. And at that time, she was very much into sewing and yarn crafting. And she actually came by our showroom a couple of weeks ago, and she has gotten into completely different crafts at this point.
Wow.
And she's into like painting and watercoloring, and she was showing me some of the things that she's changed in her setup. And that's like a perfect example of how your space can evolve over time and is customizable depending on what you need it to be. And all the practices and systems are still there. They can just be adjusted. All right, number 4, the zoning method. This one has been really, really helpful in reducing the overwhelm of being able to, see everything at the same time by grouping your supplies and your sections, whether it's a Dreambox or another space, into categories. So, Des, explain this, how you would kind of work through this with a customer.
Absolutely. So zoning for me is exactly how I set up my craft room. Even before I had a Dreambox, I zoned out my craft room. And typically what I tell the customer is before you get a Dreambox or before you are organizing your craft space, set all of your craft types into different piles. And then from there, what I like to do is set it up in your craft room so that it's accessible by the one you use the most. So let's just say you are someone that paints a lot. You want to make sure you have your acrylic paints easily accessible and in reach and in one area. Then maybe you want your canvas below that, your woodworking materials below that. And then maybe another area is your scrapbooking. And so the other side, you want to have all of your paper and your stamps and your stickers and so on and so on. And then you can really memorize your space and figure out, okay, here's my scrapbooking area, here's my painting area, here's my Cricut area, my sewing area. And it just makes things so much easier because everything, like we said in the last step, everything has a home that it can go back to.
I love that. And I love the idea of, you mentioned your seasonal resetting. I think that depending on the time of year, you may want your zones to look different. Like, especially, I know with you, Desi, the like holiday time, you got all of your kind of like gift wrapping and those kinds of things more accessible. So I know you changed things out in your setup, and I think that that's a nice way, like the inaccessible, the less accessible spaces, putting the things that you're going to be using less in that season, and then maneuvering things like you mentioned, closer reach, the things that you expect to be reaching for most frequently.
Absolutely. I actually just cleared out 2 bins that were all Christmas decor. So Christmas ribbon, Christmas tags, all the things you need for Christmas. I actually just took them, stored them away,
Yep.
in our garage, and they're stored away for next year. But then next year I'll take them out again, switch out my other totes, and just repeat the process.
And I think that that is that's something that I think people can take into their own setups and their own way of organizing, that maybe your dream box isn't holding every single thing that you own, but
Yeah.
it is holding the things that you expect to be and want to be using in the season. And then maybe you are storing some things far away, in bins that are less accessible, but ultimately what we're trying to design is a space that is usable for you in the season that you are in. Love that. All right, another example. And if you're looking for support in this aspect, as we've been mentioning, Desi is one of our creator consultants. We have a team of Dreambox owners who have become our wonderful consultants for other creators, and they can actually help. They have obviously a lot of experience. They've all been where you have been, and can help you design this and understand a way to lay out your space that will be usable for you. Okay, so number 5 that we wanted to go over is creating room for in-progress creativity, because we don't want this to be a space that you set up once and you're like, okay, I can't touch it now.
Yeah.
It's too perfect. And it's not a usable setup. So what we like to talk about here is giving yourself like a drop zone or an in progress section, whatever that looks like for you. And again, if you don't have a dream box, this can look however it needs to in your space, but giving yourself room for active creativity and a place to put that you can easily come back to it. And Des, what would you add to this?
Yeah, I always have a bin that's specifically things that are a work in progress. Recently, I just started working with jewelry again. I have about 3 necklaces that still need to be finished. And you know what? The tote isn't super pretty. It's full of supplies, but that's okay. At least it has a home and an area. And I know, okay, I'm going to take that out every weekend when I'm off work, and I'm going to get back to work on creating that project.
Yes. I love that. Okay, so those are the 5 tips. The 5 practices, if you will, that will help create more sustainable organization in your crafting space. And what we're going to get into next is just some real life examples. So, and these are going to be examples of Dreambox owners because that is what we are closest to. But again, we know that not everyone is in this system. So please take the learnings from today and apply it to your setup. But I loved this review from Gina. She said, I've wanted a dream box for years. I'm finally getting organized. My 9-year-old is just like me, crafting away for family and friends. Before, I wouldn't craft as much because things were not as easily accessible. Now I'm making everything with no fuss. And that is just that exact example that we were talking about at the beginning. Dreambox owners that are able to apply these 5 practices have found from our surveys they're able to craft 3 times more, as Desi mentioned earlier. And I think that this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, and I love the idea of, like, generational knowledge. Like, all of this is kind of like like I said, I have a 5-year-old, she has a 9-year-old. All of these practices are trickling into our children, and then they'll bring it to their families, so I like that. I like that we could pass it on and teach them.
Love that. All right, Nicole said, I just love all the ways to customize my dream box, including with these rods. So that's just a good example of, depending on the craft type that you have, finding the right containers for the right jobs and making it work in your setup. And if you need some more ideas or examples of specifically your craft materials, our creator consultants are definitely here to help with those kinds of questions. You can also explore our accessories section on our website. And you can kind of see what is possible because your dream box comes with a standard set of in-view totes and shelving and some standard organization containers. But if you want to get more in depth, we've got all kinds of things for paper storage, for thread storage, for ribbons, and specifically what you need. So you can kind of explore what's possible. And what's nice about our system is that everything is going to fit and work together. It was all designed and to measure the measurements that are needed to make it all work together.
Yeah, and while we're on the subject of real life creators,
Yeah.
if you're not already in our Facebook group, the Create Room family, highly suggest you join. And that is the perfect place to search your craft type. And you'll see real life creators with your exact setup. And there's so many before and afters. So maybe you'll see one before you get a dream box that inspires you, or maybe you'll see one while you have a dream box that inspires you.
That's such a good point. Such a good point. There's so much inspiration and ideas in there. Okay, this is another just beautiful. We just grabbed a few images because I think sometimes it's helpful to see, and this is kind of what Desi's saying, go to the Facebook group and look at all the pictures because I'm sure you'll find some inspiration there. But you can kind of see different types of crafting. So here it looks like she's into, paper crafting and painting of some kind and kind of how she set up her space. She's really maximizing the space here. I love it. Okay, and as we've been mentioning throughout this, we do have a more in-depth guide that will help you kind of go through these steps, but it also helps you get into like the right mindset as you're getting into organizing your space. And this really can be applicable whether you're starting from scratch or whether you're already into some kind of a crafts setup and you're just trying to reset. It's a great guide that's not overwhelming. It's simple, and I would say definitely doable like this month if you're looking for something to kind of walk you through the steps. All right. And Desi, you talk through this one. I know, we want to make sure everyone is able to like leave this live with some really tangible ideas of how they can approach their setup this month in a way that will help create room for more organization and crafting all year. So I love this little list that can be taken away today. You can share some of your thoughts here.
Yeah. So what can you do today to make progress? And if you take anything away from today's live, I hope it's this section. Most importantly, you can discard, sell, and donate. There's so many people that have too much, right? And then there's people that have too little. So if you can discard, sell, or donate, definitely make it a priority in the new year. Dust and wipe down surfaces. I mean, every season, just go in, dust and wipe down your craft space. Create the work in progress bin like we were talking about. We all have unfinished projects, and that's perfectly okay, but just give them a home so that you don't forget them. Don't spend 6 months and then come back to it. Make sure you get back to it soon. Schedule daily cleanup times. This can be as simple as just scheduling an alarm on your phone and coming back to it at the same time every day. Make it a ritual, and put away your holiday supplies. And these are just a few quick things you can do today to make life easier tomorrow.
Love it. Okay, I hope that this was helpful for those of you who are able to join us. It was really fun and inspiring to just go through this ourselves. I'm inspired to kind of reset my space, and I hope that the rest of you have also been inspired. I've seen a lot of comments about really specific craft supply ideas, and if you guys would like us to do more of these lives, like we can go more in depth into different craft types. So let us know what you'd like to see more of. We're planning on doing this more frequently this year. So let us know what you'd like to see. And let us know, let us know if you use the guide. We'd love to hear your experience with it. And as we've been mentioning, our creator consultants are here to help if you have questions and you're looking to either, get into a dream box or explore if it's the right thing for you. They can talk through the options. Okay. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. This was a great time. And like Ashley said, I'm available. The other creator consultants are available if you need any help.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. Oh, I forgot to mention this. We now have if you guys are looking to see a dream box in person, we've just launched a store locator on our website, and it is if you go to our homepage, you'll see it right at the top in the main menu. And you can go there and see if there are any local stores. We've just barely been kind of dipping our toes into getting into some like locally owned stores. So our Dreambox is available in some select locations. Very exciting. And so go check that out and see if there's one near you, and you're welcome to, that will make it a little bit easier to be able to see it in person, see if it works for you, kind of touch and feel it for real. So hopefully that is helpful for you guys. We've been really excited about getting to this stage there. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. This was cool. You can watch it back on our page.